Welcome back, everyone. Yay! I'm Kyo,
And I'm Cal.
and we are the Manga Mommies, a podcast about everything to do with manga and a little bit of our lives randomly mixed in between. Woo! So, would you kindly get a drink, take a seat, and let's chat? Yeah, pretty much. Today we'll be talking about the impact of manga on pop culture. Western versus Asian countries. Woo! Take it away, Kels.
So, if you guys remember from our history of manga episode in season 1, manga
No one
refers
does.
yeah, go back and listen. Manga refers to two kanji words, mon, which stands for entertaining or exaggerated, and ga, which can be interpreted as drawing or image. A little comparison, just right off the bat, between Japanese manga and Western comics. Japanese manga are read in reverse, back to front, right to left. Common genres include komodo, which is your children's manga, like Pokemon. Shonen, for your teenagers, like Naruto, for example. Shouju, for young girls, Sailor Moon. Seinen, for young boys, like Berserk. Uh, Yosei, or Josei, which is the feminine type of shinen. So citrus, which you also have two subcategories of that one. So you have yaoi, which is a relationship between two male characters, and yuri, which is your relationship between two female characters. And hentai, which we will not touch again. Never. Not on this channel. That you keep that to your own bedroom. So, more often than not, Japanese comics are also black and white. They can have less serious art style, so exaggerated facial features or emotions or crazy hair. They tend to be more asymmetrical for panel layout. Content tends to explore more mature and serious themes, and it tends to employ the use of symbolism and metaphors to convey depth. Whereas Western comics are obviously read front to back, left to right. They can be black or white or colored. Think like the old Archie comics that you used to see in like grocery stores. At least up here, they were in the grocery store aisles. They tend to have more serious, realistic art style. Characters often have a naturalistic proportion or facial expression. They are more uniform and straightforward as far as panel layout, with a focus more on action and dialogue. The content tends to lean more towards action and adventure. They are more straightforward and action driven in their writing style as well, less to do with like, symbolism, metaphors like the manga. And they tend to revolve around superheroes, villains, the use of humor to balance out the action and suspense. Think of any Marvel or DC comic as your big examples on that one. With that being said, we are talking specifically about Japanese manga and the effects of it on both Western and Asian countries. I feel like it's only fair to start off the comparison with an explanation of how the Western world acquired its access to manga and its subsequent influence on the Japanese culture thereafter. Manga started to filter towards Western countries around 1965. This was the redrawn American adaptation of Osamu Tezuka, I'm butchering everything. Astro Boy. I'm just gonna say Astro Boy. Which was published by Gold Key Comics. After the original emergence of the comics in Western society, it slowly gained popularity. One of the first manga released in the US that was translated into English was Barefoot Gen in 1978. It was translated and printed under Project Gen in Japan by volunteers and spread the author's message to the world. Then it was distributed to the US by the New Society publishers. Over the course of the 70s and 80s, more manga was then colored and released with collaborations between several people. In 1987, Viz Comics, an American subsidiary of the Japanese publishers Shogakukan and Shueisha, began publishing translations in 3 different manga series: Area 88, Mai the Psychic Girl, and The Legend of Kamuai, in association with Eclipse Comics.
I'm so proud of you. My only note that I would say when you were listing off the comparison of between the two, I would add to it. Yaoi and Yuri, they're also technically those are the terms technically, but over here in America they've changed it to a new term. So it's boy love or girl love. Yeah, just adding that in there just in case somebody wants to go. But I do. Throughout the 80s and 90s, many more mangas were being released, and it was definitely a slow burn that ramped up into what we know as the culture of manga today. Viz Media, Dark Horse, and Minx, which is now Tokyo Pop. They released more titles in the US market. The serialization of manga, such as Sailor Moon, Magic Knight Ray Earth, and Ice Blade, helped push the popularity and ease access as well. And some other examples would be Dragon Ball Z, some point Naruto, but that's actually 2000s, but it's mostly Dragon Ball at that point. I was about to put out like the big three, and that's not the right error. More. I'm tired. Yeah. In the following years, manga became even more popular and new publishers emerged. While it was established publishers were greatly expanding their catalogs, a throwback to a lot of people here, the Pokemon manga, Electric Tale of Pikachu, issue number 1. By the way, it sold over 1 million copies in the United States, and it was the making of the best-selling single comic book in the United States since 1993. The words manga and anime became more widely known in the 90s, replacing the term Japanimation. Wow. I'm the reason why it's going to get here at midnight. I'm the problem. I apologize. In 2008, the US and Canada manga market generated 175 million in annual sales. At the same time, mainstream So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll swallow my words enough they'll be like, she's drunk, she's got off the deep end. Subscribe so we can see the train wreck that's fucking happening in her life. I bet he left her with 2 kids under 2. At the same time, mainstream US media began to discuss manga, with articles in the New York Times, Time Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and Wired Magazine. As of January 2020, manga is the second largest category in the US comic book and graphic novel market, accounting for 27% of the entire shares of the market. I mean, of course, as we mentioned in the Types of Manga Fans episode, the emergence of the Japanese manga culture had some interesting effects on the fan base, from the adaptions to your subs and your dubs. Different mangas, the fan base grew, having some of the fans take their entire identities from the characters portrayed in these mangas. Such the term as otaku and weeb and weeaboo. They've made their way into the common speak for the younger generations to describe fans who take an extremely special interest in their manga of choice. From knowing all the lore and trivia of their characters to imagining certain characters and relationships, often who are not together in the mangas, animes, novels, whatever, to changing their bodies, their hair, their makeup, and even cosmetic surgery to better resemble and desire of the character. Fan organizations date back to the 1970s, and there is, unfortunately, a small quiz at the end of the Manga Fans episode if you are curious to go and see if you fit into an otaku or a weeb fan type. I thought we were stopping discussing this. You keep making me bring it up. I shunned you. I shunned you with the reading of the manga to ignore you. By the way, I got the manga recently. I'm so happy about our manga of the month. It's so pretty. But moving on.
It'll be okay, I promise. that episode can't hurt you anymore. We already put it out to the public.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now it's out in the public. It can still hurt me for many years.
So as for Japan, we covered this briefly during our History of Manga episode in the first season, in relation to the Japanese culture. That manga, as we recognize them, were originally created and used for propaganda purposes by the Japanese government between 1862 and 1894. After World War II, the influence of Western comics began to show in the public speech and government critique, ultimately influencing manga as well. Others started creating their own mangas, and it slowly evolved into what we know as the manga today. There were also pushbacks from certain groups influencing purchasing options and trying to quell the uptake of youth reading them, like the Akasaka Association of Boys' Mothers 3 Don't campaign, for example. Don't buy, don't read, don't look. In the 1950s and 60s, an increasingly large readership for manga was established, leading to a more diversified marketing genre, such as shonen and shoujo. The manga began taking on topics about more serious things, such as eating disorders or relationship problems. It kept diversifying until it reached its peak in 1995. I got through it!
You did so much better than me reading tonight.
Yeah, but the problem is I'm the one that typed it. This is how I talk.
Yeah, the history episode back in season 1 is definitely a big watch. I think it's second in our views. I think like the first is like October's manga of the month, which was a dual manga of the month, which was kind of crazy. But I digress. Go listen to it. Don't listen to it. It doesn't have video. It's just audio. So season 1 is nothing but audio because I'm lazy. Quite scared of the camera, which is why I'm having to read stuff the way I do and then panic over it. However, with the culture evolving, manga started to develop as well. By 2010, ebooks made manga more accessible, taking it from paper to electronic reading. Hooray for them. You know my feelings on that, sadly.
We have discussed this in a previous episode again, if you'd like to go listen.
Not judging you if you like it, because trust me, I understand. However, see behind me, and recently, I like owning it. I like the physical copy a little bit more. Now I do read it online. I have been reading everything online for the manga of the month just to have the review. So that's a whole other thing. But don't worry about that. Moving on. Today, manga is a huge part of Japanese culture and society. They are enjoyed by people of all ages and demographics. Manga reflects Japanese culture, values, history, and social issues. It is reflective of cultural norms and covers many genres such as action, romance, horror, science fiction, fantasy, and so on. Shops, cafes, special events, and iconic locations are also part of the manga culture phenomenon. Some examples would include the Ghibli Museum, which is outside central Tokyo, Ishinomori Manga Museum, located near Sendai, or the Pokemon Center, found in many cities such as Osaka, Hiroshima, and Tokyo.
There is a downside to the manga culture as well. With the emergence of anime and manga in today's society and the ability to have everything at your fingertips without leaving your own home, one type of fan has chosen to recluse from society, hikikomori. We have touched on this in a previous episode about manga fans, so we're not going to go into it in too much detail here. But these individuals believe that everything they need can be achieved by solitude and would often engage with those that they deem appropriate online. They interact with their chosen fandoms, can worship certain characters in manga or anime, and often have an unhealthy relationship or attachment to characters. This is not something taken lightly, and many hikikomori have been diagnosed with mental health conditions per the DSM-5 because there is no sole diagnosis for this specific condition.
In conclusion, I think it's fair to say that manga culture has influenced both societies greatly. The culture has allowed many individuals to feel as though they belong with their interest or fandoms. And while there is toxicity, just like in many groups, the overall influence of manga is greatly improved both societies and influenced their pop culture phenomenon. The Western world is nowhere close to the level of mainstream relevance, as Japan is greatly growing and with more respect and collaboration between the Western world and Asian countries, Japan. I think we will see more pop culture relevance than we do currently. Oh my God. Y'all have no idea how much editing this is going to take. Y'all don't understand how many cuts I'm going to have to do. It's going to be spliced 6 ways to Sunday. And none of y'all's going to watch it. Because no one likes it. We're alone. We're alone.
We're alone
Among
together.
Yeah, we are.
We are oxymorons. We are alone together. Like jumbo shrimp. I grew up in the 90s, and it was a staple to watch things such as Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball Z on TV after school. And with the emergence of sites like Crunchyroll, I don't see that momentum receding anytime soon.
I do not.
I think that Japan, and not to a lesser degree other Asian cultures as well, have done a number on how we view entertainment in general, as far as, TV written things like manga or our comics taking influence off of theirs.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, North America kind of went, hey, you're using comics for propaganda. We like that.
Yeah.
And it just kind of snowballed into everything.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot. Again, go listen to our other stuff. We're not just shoving it on you to get more views. We want you to learn. So that's just the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, all of the videos we make are very summarized points of sometimes excessive amounts of pages of research. Because I get really
that's why I
into
struggle.
it. I get
I'm lazy,
really
so don't read it until like day of. So that's why I struggle, and usually that's why there's a lot of cuts and a lot of edits and a lot of my life. So, which means that our next episode next week, going over our manga of the month. Which, by the way, I have all the info between the light novel, the manga, and the anime. I have all the facts that I know of so far that's come out with all of it. So
drama.
I'm gonna love it. Oh, I know. I eat that up. I am eating up all of the drama that's been going on right now. Just everyone's fighting with each other. All the fans, all from different sides. They're like, well, if you read the light novel, you would know blah, 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 blah. If you watch the anime, you would know blah, 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 blah. If you read the manga, you would know blah, 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 blah. I'm going to point this out real quick before even a little sneak peek of next week. The manga and the anime that have released earliest. So like this version, because there is two mangas. There's two mangas. This version is a faster pace than the light novels. Light novels is a lot slower and more detailed. That's why you get the split offs of what you're getting. I can't wait. I can't wait. I love facts. I know I sounded a lot like her.
And she has been fed.
Oh no, I know all of that. Mm-hmm.
Scooby.
Isn't it pretty?
It is.
This is the exclusive version. Barnes & Noble release, and it comes with pre-colored pages in the beginning. Pretty much you're paying the extra few dollars to get pretty pictures. Because I haven't really got to open these yet because it just came in the mail like 2 days ago. Like artwork. It's pretty. So pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. So I could afford the first 3. So that will be my start of that one. I may eventually get the novels too. I don't know much about the second manga because I don't think it's actually being released in America. Don't quote me on that. I'll find out. Research away.
Exactly.
But no, as of our topic this month, I mean, I know for this week, I know it's been oh no, I've pretty much been there almost the whole journey for the American side. And I miss those days. I miss those days where not many people knew a lot. You can get shit for cheap. Or, you know, you didn't have scalpers and I had to go and buy everything and then scope it up online because they're like, oh my god, it's a rare edition. And it's not. So, but no, yeah. I grew up with Sailor Moon and Yu Hakusho and uh, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, the rise and fall of Toonami, and then the rebirth of Toonami, and then the fall in Toonami. It was a whole thing. Our roller coaster emotions went everywhere. We've been through a lot as millennials.
I think the funniest thing looking back on it, like not specifically with the mangas, but with the anime, was
Mm-hmm.
the fact that that was just cartoons to us. It was not
Yeah, we had
anime
no idea.
versus anything else. No, 100%. It was like Pokemon, Digimon, like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, like all of that stuff was it's a cartoon. Not it's an Asian cartoon versus it's a Western cartoon. Like I would roll out watch Sailor Moon and then Arthur would come on and we would
Yeah.
roll right into art like it was another cartoon. So the fact that there are these like differentiating factors between the two things with even the animes that we were just
Mm-hmm.
oblivious to as kids, like we were indoctrinated into it.
Yeah,
We
Digimon. I had for Digimon, I had a flat comic, like American style comic book of Digimon. I don't have it anymore. It got destroyed, unfortunately. Probably worth a lot now. But I mean, back then it was just kind of all based around it was all comics. Everything was considered a comic. It
my
didn't split
first
off into graphic novels until later on.
my first technical manga, I had no idea. But it was
Mhm.
a Pokemon. It was a Pokemon
Yeah,
comic book that, fits the stereotype of what you would see as a manga. Had a few
yeah,
more colored pages because they were trying to appeal to, the Western audience kids, but that's what it was. And I didn't know any different. I was like, cool, I want this comic book.
yeah,
I bought it at the comic book store with the rest of the comic books that were DC, Marvel, whatever. It was
yeah,
just mixed in there. There wasn't so much of a difference, which sort of tells you how Asianized our comics have become and
yeah.
our
And I mean, that's
genre.
like Berserk. Berserk was technically the first manga I ever read that heavily shown porn. Because when you first open up the first edition, now like I know they done like they redid it and put it in bigger book forms for easier. I don't have that. I don't have the originals. I want them somewhat. But, very first page you open up. First page you open up. Having sex with a demon. full on. You see it. And I was like, woo. So, and I was like a teen. I was like, woo, oh no, I am so innocent.
My poor chaste eyes.
My poor eyes. I'm so innocent. Oh, I'm gonna faint.
And again, that falls back to having Japanese manga where it's more social, less action.
I mean, you didn't know until recently with social media's upkeep and stuff and how like Japan and America and kind of interact with each other. You didn't know things were edited. You didn't know panty shots were gone. You didn't know that the lesbian couple was now cousins. Like, you didn't know none of that. You thought this was actually what it was supposed to be. And then you find out later and you're like, what else has been a lie in my life? Who has edited my life?
I mean, even something simple as like with Pokemon, the names are different. They're completely different. Pikachu is the same.
Names are
but
different.
like names are different, places are different, things are different because they adapt them one way or the other to fit where they're being marketed to.
Big Pokemon one is James got a sex change for one of his disguises, and they changed it in the American version. Plus, my favorite episode is when everybody finds out that James is fucking rich. But that's a whole other thing. What do you think? Well, his family's rich, I guess, because he points it out quite clear. It's not me that's rich, it's my family, but they just own me. I got so much facts and yet not enough fans to share it with.
That's okay. We'll do a trivia and facts episode, I'm sure. And then you can just go ham with all your facts.
I know. Ah. That would be so much fun. It really would be. Because like I said, back there recently, I added a few more things to my background. I gotta start adding more stuff, but I've been pulling stuff out of storage and fixing it back up. But those two Pokemon sets, they started releasing Pokemon cards for Halloween. And they were set up in these sets for people to give out with their candy. And I got both of them. I'm missing the third one because I forgot about it, but unopened. So, when we get followers enough, I may open them and do a reveal. Who knows?
If you made it this far in the episode, we want to say thank you. We couldn't have done this without your support. If you'd like to subscribe and become an official Manga Mommies member, the link will be in the show notes. For the manga of the month, the PDF, copy, or free website is located in the description below. If you feel up to it, like, subscribe, and share our podcast so we can find more people just like you. We hope you have a great rest of your day, whatever time that happens to be, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Stay tuned, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye now. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.